Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I go by Lune and INNATE, and today I'm creating for you, for the collective, an ASMR video. If you want to just use it like that, it's fine. But for those of you who are into energy work, or open, I should say, to energy work by proxy, my intention in creating this session is I should explain, I pulled some cards for this. I wanted to get some guidance on what I could support the collective with. And what I got was the reversed Emperor, the Queen of Cups, and the King of Pentacles. And what it made me think about was being very discriminate in terms of leaning into intuition. I don't want to say more than logic. Obviously, I have many sessions, and you can find a session to lean more logical or lean more intuitive. I like to kind of walk the line personally. But what this spoke to me about was using our intuition, our feels, our subconscious to guide us in particularly business now and career and all of that. When I say business, that's what I'm talking about. You may be presented with options that look very similar, and one might come quicker than the other, like one might show up before the other. But I just want us to be able to tune into our intuition, to our inner guidance, and not feel rushed or not rush things, to make the best decision for our career path, our money, our business, our all of that. Now, I really want to impress upon this in terms of where, the intention here is, we live in a material world, right? Hello. Nobody wants to struggle. Nobody wants to be the martyr, from my understanding. I don't want to be a martyr, you know what I mean? But I don't want to have this very materialistic tone to this either. I want to make sure that you understand that the way that I see materialism, there's two sides to everything. There's a lower path to everything and a higher path to everything. But what I'm speaking of is more of the higher path. So maybe you get approached for a job or a collaboration or of something of some kind, and it sounds good. It sounds like what you wanted. It sounds like what you were waiting for almost. But I just want to encourage you to sit with it and not rush oh, that was it. I manifested it. That's it. Sometimes these things come in that look almost the part, but they're not quite the right fit, and we don't find that out until a little bit too late. You know what I mean? Getting back to that higher path of the material, as in, making money or doing the work that feeds your soul, all of these kind of things. I just want you to know that I'm so including the most divine intentions, or connecting rather with the divine, with the collective consciousness, or beyond that, even beyond to, the all, the unseen, the divine, whatever, however you want to think of that top realm of just energy and love and just intensity, comfortable intensity, channeled through the astral and down into the material realm that we are in. So I want us to be able to touch that, touch the divine and pull it down in our work, because when that is incorporated in your work, I'm not saying you gotta stop what you're doing and change everything necessarily. That's not what I mean. But when it comes with a connection to all that is, and for the good of this world, and for the good of your soul and your soul experience, the betterment of your soul and soul experience, it's just a completely different thing than living in the material world and working for the dollar and all that kind of stuff, right? I hope that makes sense, I'm just going to address, it's very bare here. I am I have just set up a new space for me to record these videos in, and I'm very excited. I'll give you a little tour eventually, but just to let you know, there's nothing on the walls back there yet. There will be eventually, but it's a very small room, so I don't have a lot of space to play. But I'm gonna make it work. It's about the size of my old office, honestly, in New York. I also just want to share really quickly some personal updates to my business, which I must start talking about more. Forgive me, I know some people get really annoyed with this, but like, look, like I have to share. I have a workshop coming up in February in Florida that is going to be a very interesting, I hope, way of working with magic, energy, being a conduit, empowering ourselves in those arts, empowering ourselves with working with other people. I know it sounds quite elusive, but if you want to go to my website, you can read more details about it there. Or, leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer. And I also have a retreat coming up in March that there are still 4 spots for. And I feel like these 4 spots are just like waiting for the right people. So I'm so excited to see who it is that ends up tapping into that. That website I will list below as well. I want to say here too that the retreat is not just for women. We do have some men coming. We got some men coming. The group that's coming so far, I personally know everybody who's signed up, and I'm so grateful because like they're such awesome people. But if you're confused by the, for women, it was like women with an X on our website. That really, what we were implying there, what we were trying to imply was a feminine ally, and it's not like this is a feminist necessarily kind of theme, but we wanted everyone to feel safe. That's certainly a concern of mine if I was going away somewhere. Like who am I going to be, like next to, like in the next room kind of thing. So we're all going to be staying in this gorgeous house in Costa Rica. It's absolutely stunning. It's in Dominical, up on a cliff overlooking the ocean, infinity pool, gorgeous space, and I'm just so thrilled to be doing this. So I just have to keep talking about these. Forgive me, you're going to hear me talk about them until they come. I just have to introduce them, all right? So, and I know I've talked about them before, but this is my job. Like I have to share, Anything else of my offerings can be found on my website, different Reiki classes that I'm teaching, other stuff like that. So if you want to find out about working with me, you can do that through my website. All right? And I'll just mention quickly as well, I've added some stuff to my Patreon. If you'd like to check out some offerings, I have a writing project that I'm working on. I'm creating this little zine type booklet if you're into it. All right, but sorry for the self-promotion. I know you understand. Thank you for your grace. And let's get into our session. All right, so I have a candle from Sacred Trader Joe's. It's a cedar balsam scented candle. And you can get any candle as long as it's okay for you to breathe and stuff, if you feel drawn to it. It's more of your intention behind it than it being such a luxury candle or something, right? So we're gonna light this. I'm gonna zoom you in or focus you differently first. And set our intention. So, just placing a hand on my higher heart, on behalf of the highest and greatest good and perfect comfort and alignment. Today our intentions center around connecting with the divine, we'll call it, the universe, the unlimited love, the consciousness of love, however you like to think about that super highest level. Tapping into that and channeling it through your mind, your visualizations, bringing in different tools, working with guides perhaps, but moving through your intuition essentially, however that is communicated to you, however your intuition communicates, to look for what truly speaks to you, what truly feels right in alignment with your work, with your business, with your career, with your quote-unquote mission or what you feel called to create in this world. I'm not trying to make it sound very businessy. I'm just using the best words that I can come up with right now. To best lead to your fulfillment, to best lead to getting into the space that you are aiming for. To not act too hastily, to not think that just because something was first that it might necessarily be best. It might be, but let's make sure that we're not rushing it either. Or that you're just tapping into your intuition, your body's natural responses. Does everything look good on paper? But you have this gut instinct, or your stomach is feeling off, or something's getting in your way of actually going to sign or going to do the thing that you're trying to do. Is the universe communicating to you? So our theme is going to center around activating or enhancing, supporting our body's higher intelligence of the subconscious, So we're going to work with the sacral, the root as well, and the crown for that spiritual connection. I'm sorry for my nails. I just had to cut them very short because they got damaged by the fake nails I was wearing. So if you'd like to set an intention that ties into this at all or works with those chakra points or anything, please just have a look at this flame and say your intention. Sleeping and he's like, must be eating in his sleep. He's making ASMR mouth sounds over there. Alright. Love you, Bamba. I'm going to be using these incense. They are frankincense and myrrh. Again, because I really want that channeling or that connection to or that intention to connect with to be a part of this. With the all, to be a part of this. Or your higher soul, whatever you want to think of it as. And I don't want to be in conflict here because what I'm trying to do is not dismiss logic ever, but kind of not let logic or thought overpower instinct. And when I speak of the divine, in this case specifically in this session, I'm not necessarily asking to connect with outside sources, although that might very well come up for some of you where you're the signs, man, the numbers, the signs, the colors, they were doing their thing, and I got the message. But I want to really honor you and your inner mirrors and reflections that are happening as you experience and witness and perceive these signs, or if you perceive them or feel them in your body. I want you to know that it's you getting it, if that makes sense. going to take an incense here, light it. As an offering, a token, an exchange, but also as a physical part of symbolism to say we're doing this here. Let's get it up there. Let's bring it back. This cherry is just a little too big for my comfort level. There we go. Perfect. So I'm going to start. Excuse me, it was my first time recording in here and I'm a little discombobulated. But I'm going to start with just this gentle incense around you. This beautiful frankincense and myrrh. Just want to weave it through your auric field. All around you. Around your back. And the point is just to kind of awaken the senses, clear any fog or energetic wobble. Okay. I'm going to bring out this bowl and another sound tool as well to start to tap into the senses, we could say, or continue. Clearly I'm not playing this in a traditional way, but this is an ASMR video. This is a C note for the root chakra. So let's focus on our root at the very tip of your torso. Your connection to all the resources available to you in this dimension. To the substance from what you're building or creating here on this realm. For the physical nature of being human. Creating here in this density. To your body. To your health. Your adrenal system, to your blood, your DNA, your code, and your soul's unique makeup. Mission, motives, and for the fact that as we create here, it is shared, it is experienced by others in one way or another. And then I have this gorgeous rattle, little hummingbird, made by the Rattle Maker. You can find his shop on Etsy. It's so sweet and gentle. But I want to use this as well, all around you. And if you could imagine, if you'd like to incorporate your energetic focus into this so that it is made even more powerful, focus on this going around you and like brushing off, tapping, kind of like a little massage, a little tickling, a little dusting. Alright, so I'm going to start at your back actually for this. Over the head first. Sides of your head, back and forth. Down the neck. Over the shoulders. Just going across the shoulders. And down the spine. Around the waist, near the hips, back hips, down the back of your legs, back of your thigh, back of your knee, back of your calf, to the floor and the other, down the back of your thigh, the back of your knee, the back of your calf, off your heel. Then, if you're holding your arms out, it's going to go down the arm, kind of around it. And the other. Focusing like in between the fingers and everywhere. Alright, and the front of your head. Down your throat, down your chest, down your abdomen, to your hips. Down the front of your leg, past your knee, down your shin, off the top of your foot, and the other, down your front of your thigh, past the knee, down the shin, and off the top of your foot. Alright, and I'm just going to focus under the feet now, and the toes and stuff. It's kind of obvious, right? But a reminder to do some like earth work if you're able. I know it's very cold in a lot of the world right now because it's winter in the northern hemisphere. But if you're able to stand outside for even a second without your shoes on, maybe a little more in a second, but take off your shoes and do your best, or just see yourself standing in the green grass with the intention of connecting to the earth. Standing on wood floors is usually a little better than like concrete slabs, but we do what we can. I'm just gonna go like on the sides here too, so. have some crystals that I brought out specifically for this purpose. Not too many, just 5. The first is this one, I believe, called like Varicite. I always mess this one up for some reason. But it's a really gorgeous cubic orange stone. Very fiery, but very organized. I love the energy of the stone. Sorry, I think I just got it into focus. But I wanted this for that sacral connection, that feeling, that instinctual, primal kind of nature. But also, this cubic formation supports making sense of it and building off of it in ways that are solid. Sorry if I'm breathing a little heavy. They cut down a bunch of, not cut down trees, but they trimmed a lot of trees in my neighborhood recently, and I'm a little, extra, so forgive me there. I'm okay. Just in places by the key. Another sacral themed stone or intention is this gorgeous carnelian. It's very deep colored carnelian. Just stunning. And again, any stone you have, if you work with them, that supports the enhancement of or the balancing, we could say, of your sacral area, your creative center, but also your emotional center and your space of primal instinct. And I don't mean fight or flight necessarily. I mean a little bit higher than that, a little bit more feeling based, but we could say closer to those instincts, if you will. It's very smooth. Right. Light a candle. Then a little bit different. I picked this piece of sugilite. This has a very royal energy to it, if I can say that. A divine kind of, I don't want to say opulence, but that word is coming into my mind. Really good for protection and staying in alignment with that divinity. Protecting your divine intentions, protecting your highest intentions. And I use the word protect cautiously because I don't want us to feel so oh, I need protection, But it is nice to have that. So sugilite can be very good for those of you who struggle a little there. It's like a little guitar pick or something. And then I have this really gorgeous, I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you. This is a blue-capped tourmaline. See the top of it? It looks a little green there, but I promise it's blue. Like a really beautiful bluish, purplish almost. Sorry. Isn't that pretty? I love this one. is a great stone because it has, again, that like grounding kind of tourmaline energy in general, but with this very like ascended, like woke kind of vibe to it. Gosh, my words are really struggling today. I'm sorry. It's been a while, I guess. Can you tell? But gorgeous blue-capped tourmaline. And finally, this is, I believe, called crystal cactus or cactus quartz or spirit quartz. You see these often in like bigger formations than this, kind of growing like a cactus or with like different little arms. This I got from E360 on Etsy, and I really love it. It has a little bit of like a mentor quartz vibe to me, as in the primary point for the most part, with these smaller points around it. And that's something I really want us to acknowledge in our work, is that there's a lot of other components, you know. There's helpers, there's people who just say the word and inspires you, there's people who challenge you, and it causes you to like maybe get defensive at first, but then be like, ooh, is that what I'm doing? Am I doing that wrong? Is it like, you know? So it's just, this really doesn't like focusing today. Hi. It's just important for us to know that there's so many other moving parts always, you know. And yeah, that can be, I don't want to say a distraction, but that can create like resistance or like drag us in different areas. So it's really important to know that like you have to be knowing what you're doing. Like you have to know what you want and what you don't. You have to know what's right for you and what's not, or at least know what feels best to you and move that way. All right, I hope I'm saying that in a good way. I'm going to use a little of this resist mist spray and just go through your auric field with it, your etheric field with it, to support releasing preconceived concepts like, oh, well, this has to be right because this is what so-and-so said, or this is how so-and-so did it, so this must be the way, or, well, it's on time, and being on time is better than not having, so, you know what I mean? Like anything that puts us in a rush, in a disadvantage, anything that makes us feel like, oh no, I have to act fast, I have to just, that might be the case. I'm not trying to argue that, but I also want to take in like, yeah, but let me feel about it, you know what I mean? Okay, just focusing on the group here, whoever's watching, who agrees, you know, who's open to participating. I'm seeing like elephants, I'm seeing the ocean, I'm seeing like a mama and calf elephant, like a sanctuary or something. Alright, bye, mist. It just rolled onto the floor. Alright, I'm just gonna start moving down. The intention of combing through and helping to wiggle out anything that is a disadvantage to your work, to your motives, to your movements. I just feel like there's this, I don't want to say wolf in sheep's clothing kind of energy that I'm picking up on, or that the card reading that I shared was telling me about. But it's similar. It's like there might be a facade before the real thing comes. any beliefs that make you think logic is the only way to figure this stuff out. It's always both. And the more aligned energetically you are with what you're trying to create, or what kind of life you want, or whatever it is in the realm of your work and what you create and how you make money and any and or all of those things and beyond. If there's just anything stuck or attached, it feels very smooth. I'm not picking up a lot of stuff, honestly. A little like around the crown. So maybe what the collective might benefit from is just remembering to align with that. Like, do you have to be a missionary? Do you have to like start off something like, oh, I do this, for this, I work for the Lord, like it doesn't have to be that way, or where you might think of it that way. But it all always is, isn't it? It's all for the God within you. Sorry, I'm just keep focused on the heads where I'm called to go, so. It's like this rim, like this, that I'm feeling. So sorry. I'm going to use a little this Douglas Fir spray. This brand is amazing. So is the other spray, but it's really good. I don't know, it's not happy. Okay. I just want to make you happy. So let's focus on calling in our connection. Let's just call it our higher soul. Our higher soul that accesses every dimension, let's say. Our multi-dimensional soul. Our soul that is connected to a greater soul, all of it. And let's call in I almost said the watchers, but that's not exactly what I mean. The guardians of the dimensions, specifically of the soul experience, to support this like easy back and forth and flow and transmittal and intention and communication for you and what lies beyond. So let me just backtrack a tiny bit in my words here, because often when we talk about like spirit or God or the universe or whatever, not everybody's like okay with it. People are like, God's judging me, or the same God that the religion that I grew up with made me feel like this or that, or I was told I was not doing right. So words have a lot of like attachment to them, don't they? So let's instead consider, even if we're not looking at it spiritually, even if we want to like back up a little, pump the brakes on that and bring it down a little more into this world, even if we're just focusing on the trust that behind the scenes, in ways we never could have planned for necessarily, we could not have written every detail of how it would play out or who would benefit, but more of just a knowing that behind the scenes, there are things folding and twisting and people coming online or those who have similar interests, and that the world is bringing you together to that. And also behind the scenes, all of your actions have are like actions tied to cause and effect. There is nothing you do that does not in some way have an effect. There's nothing. And that effect carries out to the world around you, to the consciousness of all of us, the shared consciousness, the collective, the odds, you know? The ratio. I don't know if you remember this movie called The Stoned Age. It was like one of my favorite movies as a high schooler. And it was just about like these like metalhead kind of guys, I guess you could say, in California. And they'd like always, there was these lines in the movie, and one was like, what's the ratio, man? Like, meaning like how many babes would be at the party, how many like boys versus girls kind of thing, like what's the ratio, which just like cracks me up. Like I still always think of that when I think of the ratio. But aside from those, and I'm sorry that this is light, I feel like it has to be light. I feel like I have to joke and bring up the Stoned Age and crap like that to show that like it doesn't have to be so serious either. Like when we're connecting with our emotional response or our feeling or instinct, it doesn't have to be this like I'm doing and it's just what I'm doing and I'm just gonna create, I'm just gonna focus on my work, I'm just gonna focus on my connection. It can be fun, you know, it can have funny associations. It's cool. Right? So back to the crown, what lies beyond all the other interworkings. Just call in this like your higher self, let's say. That's probably the best way to say it. Let's call in the highest, most intelligent version of yourself to mind the space, to soothe it, to open it, to maintain this connection, to reach down and touch and like have it like ripple through you and connect the dots in ways that you maybe haven't been connecting them necessarily, perhaps. Alright, feels much better. Just gonna comb through. Like I said, I'm not really feeling anything else. I'm just gonna go around you. Back. Picking up a little bit right by the tailbone. So I'm just gonna soothe. Placing my hands near the tailbone. I feel like there's a lot of energy coming off of here. I feel like it's more hypercharged for the majority of the collective than undercharged. So I just want to focus here on supporting the healthy, comfortable release of this excess energy near the tailbone, to see it like a point, perhaps. Your tailbone pointing down to the earth, releasing the excess energy here, taking a little of the steam out, you know, letting the steam out. It's okay. Perhaps some of you struggle the way I do with the back and forth of the material, you know, and it's like almost hard to get grounded, hard to be rooted, or I don't want to say it's hard, but it can be something that needs to be mindfully brought in, not just like, oh, I'm just always grounded. Yeah, sure. It takes a little work. So I'm just placing my left hand near your tailbone, focusing on release, releasing the excess, releasing the discomfort, releasing any shyness about creating here as well. Fear, but fear that almost comes out as being shy or timid or, I don't know, apologetic for wanting to live your life, you know, or that kind of thing. Send your message, send your request, send your intention down through your tailbone into the earth. Root it, anchor it, send out the roots, the root system. Send out your electrical charge through that root. This is my intention. This is what I want. I'd like help for this. I'm going to do it. I'm ready. Send it out. Declare it. Send it out. All right? Okay, I think we're good here. I'm going to move to some just channeling at this point. So again, just centering myself, connecting with you again. Seeing a lot of blue, a lot of, it's like a blueberry blue, kind of violet, I guess. My intention, of course, is always honoring your free will, is always in perfect comfort, is always exactly what you need. Maybe the tiniest bit more, so we feel it, but nothing forceful, nothing pushy, just an offering. Alright, so we kind of worked on the crown a little first, so let's go right to the sacral. I'm actually put one on near the crown and one near the sacral. And call this energy through your body, receive it like you're breathing through the top of your head, you know, and it's just coming down, and as you move your breath, send the energy to your sacral area. Empower your primal, your instinctual, your gut instinct to guide you with trust in it, to guide you. Whether that shows up as like hairs on the back of your neck or tripping and falling so you can't do what you're trying to do. I think there's something to be said for perseverance, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Just channeling to the sacral area. This, of course, is your center of creation as well. You have to trust it too, you know? What are you creating? What are you building? What are your desires? What do you want to experience? Alright, and then we're going to go down to the root. To be comfortable. To be comfortable that you're a freaking human and you have needs. To be comfortable wanting things, like wanting money and stuff or whatever it is. To be comfortable with the material level that can be looked at as materialism. Or can just be looked at as the fact that, like, yeah, we need to live, and if I have the money to support myself, then I can do a better job at supporting other people. I can show up better. I can show up maybe a little more rested, more supported, well fed. Maybe it puts me in a position to help other people more effectively. To make donations, to start projects, to hold fundraisers, to align my work in some way to a type of charity, if you feel called, I mean. Alright, now we're just moving between the sacral and root. And then calling it up through the solar plexus, through the heart, through the throat, through the third eye. Back up to communicate to the all, to what lies beyond. That you're ready. And you're going to pay attention to your intuitive reactions, impulses, nudges, whatever they are for you. We all have different dominant intuitive communications within us, you know, so it's worth understanding what yours might be. It might be dominant and developing it further. I just want to scan for some urgency. Like, where is this urgency coming up? Pardon. Surprise, surprise, a little more thought-based. I think it's easy to have something in your life be of urgent nature and have that urgency kind of like spread out, so now everything feels rushed, everything feels like I needed it yesterday, like that kind of thing. So let's release any of that, you know. Yes, some things are urgent. Yes. But we want to disconnect any parts that are not from that energetic, like, resonance. Kind of like getting images that are making me feel like maybe some of you watched your parents take too long to make a decision, or maybe like you grew up in some kind of way, you experienced or witnessed in some capacity, or you've seen it in peers, people who take too long to do something. You know, I think we all know those people. No offense to those people. No offense to any of them who are those people. But who we see as like, oh, they missed their chance. You know, like that kind of thing. There has to be a trust and divine unfoldment, of course. And yes, if you feel ready, get started, right? Don't hold it up. But divine timing kind of shows you when you're ready. It just kind of happens when it happens, kind of thing. Maybe some guidance here. I'm sorry this is all over the place. I'm just getting a lot of different messages today. But is to remember the emotional meaning or fulfillment or the emotional connection to what you're manifesting, how you want to feel in your manifestation, and anchor that to yourself. Spend time in meditation. Let's do it right now. Think of how you want to feel. Happy, abundant, prosperous, helpful, charming, well received, wise, whatever it is. But not just words, like think how you want to feel. I want to feel like I'm in ease and I'm moving in grace and I help people, and I just will anchor that feeling to me. And I want to feel monetarily, whatever you want to call it, but supported through resources in that as well, right? It's not a martyr situation. I'm not a sacrifice here. Neither are you, you know? So connect to your feeling. How do you want to feel in your life? How do you want to feel on a day-to-day basis? What's your overall feeling, general? What is that? What does it feel like in your body? Notice it and anchor yourself to it. Tap into it. maybe do the traditional anchor, pushing your fingers together as you connect with that feeling in your body. Send that feeling to like the very ends of your hair, the tips of your toes, down each vertebrae of your spine, to your eyelashes, to your breath, everything. Your blood is pumping with this feeling, and this is your resonance. And you can take your fingers and push them together and create an anchor to tap into this. So as you go about your day tomorrow, when you want to tap into it, you can do this to support kind of clicking to that space, to that resonance. They like that out there, I guess. Alright. So I just want to work a little on the aura. Again, just calling it down and then sending it out. Breathing through the crown, channeling this energy down to the sacral, down to the root, down and out your legs or out your spinal backbone, what's it called? The end of your spine, down into the earth, becoming anchored here, trusting, knowing your instinct. We want to release the facade of what we might experience. Facade of something being good on paper, you know? Is it right for you? Does it support you in this feeling? And that's how you'll know. You know? If you're like, I know I want to work from home. I know it. That's what I want. That's my goal. I'm going to work from home. It's going to be great. I'm going to pace my day exactly how I want. And then you get a job offer that's like, hey, this is the money we'll pay you, but you have to commute into the city. It's like, the money's there. Oh, health insurance? Oh, okay. But remember how much you hate that commute. Does it fit into what you want? You know what I'm trying to say? That's a very, obvious example, but something like that. I'm seeing griffins. Griffins make me think of protecting the home, you know, like protecting your castle, your kingdom. I just feel like a few of us are going to have you want this one or this one? And they're going to look very similar, but they're not similar. One will definitely have more of what you want. Or a mist. Just send this in from all directions, all sides. What is the Emperor about? Why was he in reverse? Maybe he's a little too rigid. Maybe the Emperor's not good with money. Maybe he has someone who does that for him. But maybe on his own he might not, be that way. Maybe it's too strict. I don't know. Something like that. And the King of Pentacles, he's very wise materially. Generous. guess it's the difference between an empire and a kingdom. If there is one, I'll have to look it up and really check my definitions there, but king to me in this card deck anyway makes it feel like they've got there through experience. And the Emperor in reverse specifically, maybe the work wasn't done, you know? So look into that. When things are presented to you, look for what has experience, look for what has proof of managing things, because that will be a better match for you. Listen to the words, read the text, the print. I'm sorry if this theme is a little weird. It's just like what came up. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and I send you so much love, so much appreciation. Happy New Year! Welcome to 2020. We did it. I think. Doesn't feel like it's over yet, does it? Thank you for letting me be a little piece of your path today. I send you so much love and appreciation from the very bottom of my heart. I bow to the divine within you, me, to the magic that we share. Alright, much love.